I'll start with intro cup.
I might edit it out this time, but I don't know yet. It's fun. Me sitting down because I'm struggling to sit down right now.
What is up, fellow music listeners? My name is Asa Erickson, here today with my co-host
Brandon.
And today we are bringing you our third installment of the A and B Disagree podcast. We have some really interesting topics to go about, so without further ado, let's get right into the first one. So an artist, I should say, that has had a huge influence on my life is Kanye West. Now, on Valentine's Day, which was last week, it was the 5-year anniversary of his 7th album, The Life of Pablo. Now, The Life of Pablo, I wouldn't say it's like a controversial album, but if anyone remembers, the rollout for that was absolutely trash. It came out in February, wasn't finished until June.
And by the way, it came out on Valentine's Day, which, by the way, when we were both single this last Valentine's Day, which we spent Valentine's Day probably, I don't know what he spent Valentine's Day doing. We weren't together. I spent Valentine's Days laying in my bed doing absolutely fucking nothing, because I'm just like, damn, I'm single as shit right now, dude. Yeah. But, you know, it really is what it is.
You know, I finally come to a point in my life where, like, I've been single long enough to where I took this year's Valentine's Day as, like, you don't need another person's love in order to have that love on Valentine's Day.
Oh, no, and I completely agree.
Because it's a day all about love, so I kind of took that to treat myself.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean,
like, do shit
100%.
that, like, it's kind of like, you know...
Kind of for your mental health.
Exactly, yeah. Just, like, I'm going to do things that are
good.
good for me because I love myself and I'm comfortable in my own skin and everything. So Valentine's Day is just a day about love in general. So if you don't have that person that you can show that love to, just show it to yourself because you deserve it.
Because in reality, you know what they say, you can't love somebody if you don't love yourself
You
first.
can't love someone else if you don't love yourself.
Exactly.
Yep.
But anyway, we're gonna dive right into our main topic. We just wanted to kind of talk about that a little bit because Valentine's Day it's Valentine's Day. Also, my mom's birthday just passed on Monday, so happy birthday to my mom. If my mom sees this, happy birthday, Mom.
Mrs.
I love you.
Alrighty. So back to The Life of Pablo. So this album, I really enjoyed it, and obviously I'm biased. I was lucky enough and blessed enough to go see Kanye on the St. Pablo tour where he had the floating stage.
That'd be really cool.
It was absolutely incredible. He didn't come out for 90 minutes. He had no openers, so we were all just like waiting in anticipation, and it was all gray. And then he finally came out, and everyone went batshit crazy, and it was just
I'm sure it was
an amazing experience.
I can only imagine how amazing that was, honestly.
But so because of that, I took a deep dive into my 3 favorite songs off the album, which I'm going to show to you right now. My first favorite song off the album did not even come during the original rollout. It came out, I think, in June. And it's St. Pablo featuring Sampho.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yes. So it's the closer on the track, or it's the closer on the whole album. It came out 4 months later, and I love this song.
Don't mean to interrupt.
No, you're good.
So it came out on Tidal, right? That was the streaming app, Tidal.
Yes.
I remember I bought Tidal just to listen to Life of Pablo because I was so pumped. But
Rest in Paradise Tidal.
Right, for real. And then I remember when it finally came out on streaming services, it was in June. Because I remember I was just reading this XXL Freshman.
Yeah.
The most albums that are turning 5 this year.
Right.
And then it was like, oh, Life of Pablo, June. And I'm like, hold on a second. Didn't it definitely, like, we were just talking about how it came out in February. Yeah. And I'm like, what the fuck? So then I remember it. I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot it wasn't on streaming services right away. Every streaming service, I should say, but it was out on Tidal in February.
The original album isn't even on streaming services. Like, you have to like illegally download it. It was just a really shitty rollout for an album, and especially with someone as high and influential as Kanye, like, you got to be better than that.
You think he just let, like, he could have done better himself? You know, I feel like if he definitely had more control.
He had more resources and stuff,
but I mean, control over putting it on streaming services.
Kanye's
I feel like he was at a point where he's like, this is right when Yeezy started bumping, and everybody was like, yo, Yeezy this, Yeezy that, blah blah blah, and everybody's like, okay. So he's probably like, you know what, I'm about to make my shit super exclusive and put it on Tidal.
And Kanye isn't gonna Kanye, you know.
Fuck Tidal.
Yeah.
Tidal sucked ass. I used it literally for that one album.
Yeah.
I was pissed because, like, I had to pay fucking $10 a month just for the one album.
But so St. Pablo is my favorite song off the album. The song really, really, really shows Kanye's vulnerability, which is something that, you know, he's kind of put in this above, like, higher power tier when it comes to celebrities. You know, just with how much he's in the media, how much you know about his life just because of how much he's put on the media.
Exactly.
And this really shows his vulnerable side. He talks about debt, media criticism, and how he survived everything that he's been through, and, like, that man's been through a lot of shit. After that, Sampho comes in with an amazing hook. And Sampho is one of the best voices I've ever heard in my life. That is the reason that really hooked me on this song.
Can I be honest? I've
Go
never
ahead.
listened to the song St. Pablo.
You what?
I've never listened to that song.
I'll put you on at some point.
We'll definitely have to listen to it
for sure.
after this podcast is over.
Sampha, if any of you don't know who he is, he's been featured on Drake's 4422 song, the song with Kanye, obviously. He has an incredible album called Process that dropped in 2017 that is just...
I don't have Rona, I promise.
that is just incredible. I'm not going to rave about that one too much yet, but... So, he comes in with this hook, and he says, now you're looking at the church in the night sky, wondering whether God's going to say hi. Now, that's something that personally resonated with me because I've come from a religious background, and I know with anyone who's involved with religion in some way, when something bad happens or something, a lot of people think, like, why is this higher power not catering to me at this point? Where's God when I need him?
Really.
And that's something that's such a relatable topic for so many people. And the way that it rolls off Sampa's tongue, it literally feels like you're in, like, a holy setting. And it's just 100%. An incredible song, and an incredible hook. And, he says, wonder where's God in your nightlife, because that's when you always have those deep late night thoughts. That's when you're always, like, alone in your head and everything. And the way he paints this picture, it literally feels like you're standing outside of a cathedral just staring up at the top and just, like, thinking about the deepest thoughts or whatever.
You're really putting me in a zone. Just like, I'm just going to now, because of everything that you just explained, when I listen to the song, I'm just going to imagine that. I'm going to close my eyes and just imagine.
Yes.
I got to make sure I listen to the song with headphones on.
Yes.
I feel like you can never really get a full, like, feel of a song without headphones or in a car.
Yes.
Like,
my car's my favorite place to listen
literally,
to music.
Car or headphones, the only two places that I'm, like, really, like, sucking that shit
exactly.
in, or whatever you want to say, feeling the vibe, sucking that shit in.
So then after Sampa's first hook, Kanye talks about certain stereotypes around different religions and races, and he's got some bars in there that are really interesting and introspective. And then Kanye has this bar where he says, I'm one with the people. And then these drums kick in, and then he just starts going off with these bars, and he talks about his relationship with God, and then Sampha has a bridge, and there's all these synthesizers, and it makes it feel like a coming to God moment.
This song sounds crazy.
Like you're fucking, like you're finally coming to, like, it makes you feel like you're coming to God, and, like, everything goes full circle.
I don't even know what the song sounds like. It sounds crazy.
And then it transitions to a hook,
to listen to this shit.
And there's some light piano keys and soulful and vulnerable lyrics at the end.
You're going to convince a lot of people to want to listen to the song.
This song
is how in depth you're going with it about it. I feel like everybody's just gonna be like, "Yo, I need to listen."
I feel like this song needs the justice, or this song is justified in that. But
100%.
So you had some Kanye. I mean, I know you didn't go as far in depth, but
I didn't. I'm not. I didn't go in as too in depth as Asa did with his, because I know he's a big Kanye fan. Like, I like Kanye. I'm not a big I haven't really been a super big fan of Kanye since Yeezus, so it's been a long time for me. But one of the songs that I think I like the most on Life of Pablo is probably Fuck My Life.
Yeah.
That song is fucking so good. Not even because, see, like, it's like the way Kanye flows on that song, and it's super simple flow.
Exactly.
Like, the way he kind of just, like, says something and then stops, and then fucking the beat goes, blah, blah, blah,
And, like, the production's very minimalistic.
Yeah, and it's kind of just like he's talking about all these things. It's like he doesn't want to ruin because of his, like, famous lifestyle. So you're kind of just like, okay, I have to sacrifice these things because I want to keep these things, things like that.
Exactly.
Like, and then The Weeknd comes in with I wish I would go ahead and fuck my life.
And of course, The Weeknd is just
The Weeknd,
angelic.
Perfect in that song. There's actually a version of that song where Travis Scott says that instead.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and I listen to both versions, of course, but I like the Weeknd version better because I feel like The Weeknd's voice itself kind of just gets you in, like,
that's The Weeknd.
It really gets
that's
you.
His thing.
Yeah, literally. It's just like his voice itself is just kind of makes you feel that. Like, you're kind of just like I feel like in that song, how kind of even how in St. Pablo he's kind of showing his vulnerability and showing that he has emotions like any other person in the world, and he's kind of just like, I'm this guy who has to keep this image, and like, but I can't be myself because everybody's gonna think I'm crazy.
Everyone has this perception of me.
Yeah, everybody has this, like, I'm not allowed to go I can't go fuck girls because I don't want to ruin my I don't want to ruin my relationship with my wife,
exactly.
And I don't want to go and, like, my kid, because she's at Northwest, which is quite a funny name to me still to this day. But that's definitely one of my favorite songs on there. But other than that, like, I mean, of course, Father Stretch My Hands, part 1, like Kid Cudi's part, that shit really fucking hits you, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, Kanye's lyrics in that song aren't really, like,
they're not the deepest.
Oh my God, like,
exactly.
If I fuck this model, she just bleached her asshole. Like, oh my God, bro, that sounds like such a shitty thing for you.
It's a Kanye lyric.
Yeah, literally.
And, like, if you love him, you're gonna love that lyric. If you hate him, you're gonna think it's absolutely atrocious.
I feel like everybody's enjoying that shit. Oh,
yeah.
Fuck, bro, the camera's about to die.
Aww.
I can see it blinking, bro.
I can too. Oh.
Fuck me, guys. I think we're gonna have to charge the camera really quick and come right back to you. I'm sorry. And we back. We charged the fucking camera. It took us a good 45 minutes.
Yup.
We had a little break in between. I was listening to that St. Pablo song that Kanye, not that Kanye was talking about, that Asa was talking about.
So, yes, we started off with St. Pablo being my favorite song off of The Life of Pablo. Also,
we're having a party. There's a party going on upstairs right at this very moment.
But also, one thing I wanted to point out throughout the whole album, there's so many religious religious lines in it, and I found it really cool because where The Life of Pablo comes from.
Those fucking people. Disrespectful.
So, I just want to talk about the title for a little bit. So the whole album comes together, and first off, it comes off with the Apostle Paul, who is the biggest influencer of Christianity, which is something that Kanye, talks a lot about in his music. The second one was Pablo Escobar, who is the biggest mover of product, huge drug kingpin. The last guy was Pablo Picasso, who is the biggest mover of art. The mix of message, product, and art is The Life of Pablo. Which is fucking like
you really did your research on this one, didn't you?
I did. That's a quote I got from Volks, guys.
I'm fucking fair enough.
But so the second favorite song that I have off The Life of Pablo is Wolves. Now where this song came from is Kanye and Drake were into a collaboration album called Wolves that never ended up happening, but that's the inspiration to the song. But
this table really quick.
You're good.
My bad.
So the song starts off with some beautiful crooning from a vocalist named Caroline Shaw. Decided to look up her name just because to give her respect. And it sounds like a very angelic wolf howl in a sense. And it feels like you're lost in a forest, and you have these wolves coming towards you, but it's like this beautiful crooning. So it kind of comes, it's like finding beauty in the darkness, I guess, in a way. But so Kanye is comparing his haters to wolves, and that's what the whole premise of the song goes.
I forgot how wolf sounds. I'm gonna play it for a second. Sorry guys.
You're good.
I just want to hear it. Okay, yeah, it's exactly what I thought it was. I was just making sure.
And then so after that, Sia out of anyone comes in on the second verse, and she talks about how she was lost and beat up, and she comes off in a very vulnerable way, and she just has this Sia has an amazing voice, but she comes off in just such an emotional and candid way that's just really awesome and really pristine. So then Kanye then goes and talks about more biblical references like Mary and Joseph. And one of the lyrics that I thought was funny is what if Mary met Joseph in the club around hella thugs or something like that? And I always find that something very interesting is you think of historical periods of time, and it's so cool to think about what would happen in those scenarios if they happened today. If some big revolution happened or something like that, in today's world,
Seriously.
The stuff that we all hear all the kinds of stories about, what would they be like in the current age? It's just a mind-blowing thing to think about. But
do you think it'd be worse now or better?
I don't know. Because it's so hard to compare because none of us knew how.
Yeah, we don't exactly know. We know what we've seen, what we learned in school. That's really all we really know.
Well, plus there's so many people who would think it'd be better, but then now we're looking at all this inclusivity and all these new things coming up and that, and
so maybe
those people are lost in the dust back in that age, So it'd be worse for so many different people, but it'd be interesting either way to take a look back at those times.
Yeah, but I definitely a revolution such as that back now would I feel it probably maybe it would go a lot better.
Yeah,
just because of
I personally think it wouldn't, just because I think social media is toxic,
Yeah.
And that's just that's where everything comes from, all these revolutions and everything comes off of social media, and it's so easy to go on your phone and type a little something or everything like that. But
going off of that, I actually recently, that is 100% true, and I 100% agree. There are a lot of people who literally kind of hide themselves behind social media and say all these things in social media, and then they don't really apply it to their daily life.
Right.
I actually was just saying something about this the other day. I put it on my Snapchat story for those who might have seen that. I said something I'm just gonna read it word for word, just so everybody gets the general idea as to what I said. I said, remember, just because you posted about something one time doesn't always make a difference. Stop posting about serious topics because you think it's a trend. Apply these things to your daily life. That's what will make a true difference. Speak these things into existence and actually do them. Don't just post it once and act like that will make a true difference in your community. Mean what you say. Spread love endlessly, in real life, not on social media. Sorry, I fucked that up. This is not directed towards anybody. That wasn't directed towards anybody in particular, but I have seen a lot of people on social media who post things because they think it's cool or it's a trend or whatever. As I said, mean what you say, be a good person in real life, not just over the phone. And it's literally the truth, bro, because like all these people want to, like this kid that I went to school with just passed this last week because he committed suicide, which rest in peace. And I'm sorry that you felt that way and felt the need to do that. It's honestly very upsetting because there are people in this world that love you, and everybody needs to understand that. I think that as serious as mental health is in the society now, I feel like there's still a lot that we need to understand about each other in that aspect. I feel like there's a lot of people who act like they care about mental health but don't actually care. They make it like with like a social media trends, just acting like they give a shit about something because they want to look like a good person, but they're not. Like, and I'm not going to say that just because you do that makes you a bad person, like automatically, but there are only some people who just want to be perceived as a good person, so they post about it on social media one time and then never again. You'll never see it again unless something like that happens again. And it's more like, I think you should be able to constantly remind people of that these things matter, and that doesn't just go for mental health. That also goes for Stormy. That also goes for everything else that's been happening within 2020. That doesn't just go that mental, excuse me. I just think that we live in a world where we let social media consume everything, and I'm not even that's me too. I'm not gonna act but the thing is, I'm a person who says these things on social media but also applies them in my daily life. I practice them on a daily basis. I spread love every day, and I let everybody know that I hope they have a good day. I remind people that they matter every single day. I compliment people every day. I do all these things in real life, not just through a phone, because it means something to people. You want people to know that they matter in life, and not even to just you, to multiple people. Like even to hear that they matter to just one person could save their life. So I think that people need to learn to stop just to stop posting shit on social media and go out into the world and show people what you're capable of, that you're capable of spreading this love in real life, not just going on some rant on social media about how this needs to be taken more seriously. I do that too, but like I said, I also will have conversations in real life with real people face to face about these things. And I feel like and not to sound like cocky, I guess, it's like I just feel like there's not a lot of people I know that do that. Like, and I'm not saying like all of my close friends, we all give a fuck about that shit. And I'm not saying that just because we're not close that you don't give a fuck. So don't take me wrong. But there are a lot of people that I've known in the past, and just people that don't give that just act like they give a fuck, but they really don't. And it's honestly probably the most upsetting thing, is because it's like it's either do it in real life, don't post it on social media at all if you're not going to apply it to your daily life ever. Like, constantly be applying it to your daily life every single day. Just strive to be a good person. It's really probably the easiest thing in life that you can do as a person, is to be nice and treat people with respect, and just to tell people you love them. And that's not even about, like, this isn't even just about like checking up on your friends because making sure that they're okay. This is about just spreading awareness for mental health, and letting people know that they deserve to be in this world, whether they think it or not. And with that being said, I hope that people see this, and then they kind of they kind of reflect on it and think like, that's true, that you should, because it's just the truth. You should definitely be able to go out in your daily life and just be nice to people, because it's so easy to be nice to people. Some people are just so like feel like it's so easy to be rude, like for some fucking reason, and it's honestly makes no sense. And that's why some people, honestly, like, maybe that's at one point why I felt like I didn't want to be here anymore, and I wanted to kill myself. I'm glad I didn't, because I'm in such a good place now. It's like it's not like that stuff is irrelevant because that made me who I am.
Exactly.
But it's
part of the story.
I will not let it consume me in a bad way.
Right.
I took that negative piece of my life and I turned it into something positive, and now I personally feel like I'm one of the nicest people I know because of it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like let me become this person that I truly think that I think everybody should be.
Yeah.
I think it's I'm not saying be like me, I'm just saying be a good person.
Right.
And with that being said, I just want to say I just want to say rest in peace to all the people who have lost their lives to suicide. I hope you guys are in a better place now, because this world can be a shitty place. Honestly, this world can be fucked up, and I hope that you guys are prospering in heaven or wherever it may be. Because you guys deserve that. You guys didn't deserve to lose your lives because you felt like you weren't good enough. Nobody does.
Yeah.
I'm gonna cry, dude.
You're good.
And then just yesterday was the 1 year anniversary. Some girl that I also went to school with, which I didn't know her very well. I didn't know the guy that just passed away recently very well either. But that's still, that happens so close to home.
Yeah.
It affects me
because
it's like exactly because I've been through it too, and it's not like, and it's anybody who goes through that. Nobody deserves to go through that.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. And it's like some people understand some people are different than others, but if, like I said last week, if you feel like you're going through something like that, and I think don't be afraid to get help.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to tell somebody that you need real help.
Mm-hmm.
Whether that means you go to a therapist or you go to a hospital. If it helps you and it keeps you alive in this world, that's what matters most, because you don't deserve to lose your life. Just because people can be mean,
mm-hmm.
because people can be shitty. There are shitty people out here, and it's very depressing
mm-hmm.
to like see that, because you just like I just want everybody to have a good life. I don't want anything bad for anybody.
Yeah.
Ever. Like even if you're somebody I don't really like necessarily fuck with,
mm-hmm.
I still want the best for you no matter what.
Right.
There's not a lot of people I don't like though. That's
mm-hmm.
the thing. Like
yeah.
there's not really anybody I genuinely don't like. I want to see the good in every single person I've ever met, even if they can be kind of mean.
Mm-hmm.
You want to believe that.
You want to see it like a positive part.
Yeah,
you want to
believe. You want to believe that there is a part of them that doesn't want to be the way they are, but like it could be because of the way they were raised, the way they are, and I don't always think that's necessarily an excuse.
Right.
Because it's not, like I said, it's not hard to be a good person, but some people just like have this persona that makes them think that they should be this way because this is how they grew up with the people around them. Mm-hmm. And it's not okay at all. I think everybody should just, it's so effortless to be a good person. Yeah. And it's honestly so, it's just, it hurts my heart to see that people get treated so badly that it drives them to the point where they feel like they shouldn't be in the world anymore. Yeah. Because that was me. Yeah. And I think that's kind of all I want to say about it, because I'm gonna get way too emotional about it, because I'm just reminiscing now, man. No, I was in such a dark place at one point in my life, and not like I said, like last week I said, not a lot of people know that about me. So people that have actually watched last week's and actually listened to me, man.
Come out and share it with
people
other
that actually listened to me
experiences.
last week, I do appreciate you guys a lot, and I hope that you guys take this and turn it into something positive and spread love every day, because that's what's important. So with that being what's up? Huh?
Did you invite a dude in before?
Isn't that
Is it I think he's friends with Mom. He just got here. I think I've seen him, but I don't know.
Does he have the curly hair?
Long hair, beard. I don't know. I didn't interrupt. I just said he's in our bathroom.
Who does he say he knows?
I don't know. Ask him.
Well, ask him.
But he dapped me up like he knows me.
Then he might.
Probably.
Sorry about that. Somebody showed up to our little party thing going on that we might not necessarily know, but we welcome everybody in here, so it doesn't matter.
One thing I'd like to add to that whole point is, everyone you, me, everyone watching, we're all addicted to our phones somewhat, you know,
Yeah.
and that's, it's, your phones can be a great thing because it's such an essential part of our lives with technology, but you need to find your boundaries and barriers of when to get off. And this is one quote that I found off a YouTube video, and it's comparison is the thief of joy.
Yeah.
Say you go on Instagram, all you're doing is scrolling through, looking at how amazing everyone else's lives are. And that can force you to think like, I don't have any cool thing to post. Look at how shitty my life is. So it's all smoke and mirrors on Instagram.
Yeah,
you know, everyone has their own
exactly.
issues. Everyone has their own faults and everything.
Because behind that, you never know what they're thinking.
Exactly.
what they're
Yeah,
going
you
through
never
in
know
their
what someone's
brain,
actually
that's
going
just,
through.
That's just like that could be a cover up to let everybody know.
Exactly.
Like make everybody think I'm having a good life because they don't want everybody to know what really they could be going through in their heads.
Right. But yeah.
Because because not everybody wants to speak out about how they feel,
Exactly.
you know, because they think it's they might think it's corny or they
Right.
might think it's like
coming off as like
nobody like
being a
too
wuss,
coming
you know?
off too strong, you
Yeah.
know, because some people could be like, somebody could literally text you and be like, I think I want to kill myself, and you might be like, whoa,
Yeah,
like, you might be overreacting, which I've literally had people like,
Yeah.
I've heard people say shit like that when somebody has been like, I want to kill myself, and how do you know that they're not serious?
Exactly.
That's the
Right?
thing.
Yeah.
You should always take that with precaution.
Because you're always going to think it'll never happen until it actually
Exactly,
does.
and then once it actually happens, you feel like I could have saved them.
Exactly, right? You're
And
like,
it-
then what could I have done to be better and prevent that from happening?
And I don't think anybody should necessarily, like, you shouldn't have to feel guilty because you never really know, you
Right.
know, like you never truly know if somebody is really like what am I trying to say, like
You never.
somebody will say it, but like, you know, like there are people who I know there are people who genuinely feel that way,
Right.
and it's like you don't really know how to take it because
Yeah.
you've just never really known somebody to be that way, maybe if it's somebody close to you.
Right.
So it's just kind of to react like that, you might just think, maybe they're just
They're in a phase.
maybe they're
or
just kind
something.
of thinking that right
Yeah.
now because of something's going on.
Right.
But like in reality, what I think you should always take that with precaution because you never know if they really truly mean it
Right.
until it's too late.
Yeah.
And that is the most shitty feeling to anybody. And I don't think, like I said, I don't think you should feel guilty for feeling like you could have saved them because don't blame yourselves because you never truly know.
Yeah.
Like don't ever blame yourselves, but just make sure that if somebody ever does tell you that, to take it with the most precaution as you can to try to prevent it. But don't blame yourself for it.
Yeah.
Because you really never know, and it's nobody's fault. If it's the world. You should blame the world for the negativity in the world that make people feel this way. I'm busy. Who is it?
Yeah.
What's up, bro? You're literally interrupting.
Can you cut this out?
Huh? I will cut it out, yeah.
Okay, what we're gonna do is tonight we're gonna put the couch in front of your door.
That's fine.
Is that okay? So no one comes in.
Yeah, that's fine.
Alright.
Okay,
I just wanna make sure, like,
Yeah, you're good.
Cause my room is locked and shit. I got taped.
No, that's fine. That's fine. All right. I'm gonna cut this out. So that's fine. I might not cut it out, honestly. But it's just kind of
Yeah.
That's the second time.
Shitty
I've been
time to be interrupted.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a very shitty time to be interrupted. But like I said, don't blame yourself. Don't think about it's. And I understand it's hard not to think about what you could have done in that position, but. And I completely understand that. It's hard not to think about that. It's hard not to think, what could I have done to prevent it? But take it as now you know what you can do for the future.
Yeah.
Now you know that you should always take these things with precaution, and you should make sure that they're not serious, and because you don't want somebody to go through something like that. But I don't want anybody to ever blame themselves like it was their fault, because it's not your fault because you didn't know. And I am sorry for all these people close to these people who have committed suicide, because I can't personally say I understand what it feels like to go through that. But I understand myself, what it is like to go through that myself, and how I felt when I went through that. Yeah. And I had nobody. I had no one to tell. at the time. I had no friends. My mom was always gone at work. She had no idea. I didn't even tell her that I attempted that until literally last year.
Yeah.
So, that happened in 2012,
Yeah.
2011. So it's been a long time coming, and I'm happy to be where I'm at.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think we just all need to be good people and treat each other the same. I think it's not that hard to be a positive person. It really isn't. Treat others with respect. Let everybody know they matter to you, and always, always, always spread love. With that being said, I just want to say now, rest in peace to Ashlyn, and rest in peace to Ashton. These two people that I went to school with. It's really, truly is heartbreaking to hear about these things, because I bet you guys were some great people, and you didn't deserve that at all. I hope you guys are okay up there. That's all. But that's all I'm going to say now. But I just want everybody to know that this is a serious topic that I like to touch on as much as possible, because it truly means something to me. So thank you for listening, and please make sure that you spread love constantly if you can. Any chance you have to spread that love to anybody around you, do it.
And one thing I'll just add to that is, going back to social media, and that quote I said before, comparison is the thief of joy. All of us as people try and compare ourselves to other people. We have inspirations and, people who influence us, but it gets to a point of toxicity where you feel like you're never the best because you're not like a certain person or another, you know? Like, that'd be like us saying like, oh, we're not the Breakfast Club yet, we're fucked, you know what I mean, or something like that. But we're just doing our own thing, having a good time.
Oh my God, stop coming in here.
There's a dog that keeps coming in here, in case you keep wondering why the door flies open. It's not a ghost or anything.
You guys want to see her?
I'm gonna try and prop her up.
I'm gonna try and get her. I'm gonna try and get her to come up here. Come here, Stormy, come on. Show everybody your beautiful self.
Here's the pooch.
Come on, baby. Come on. Ah, you're so heavy.
Oh shit. This is Stormy. She just keeps coming up in my room. She keeps interrupting. That's okay though, because she's a sweetheart.
Good dog.
Oh fuck, she knocked over my can. Nice. Good thing there was nothing in there.
But, comparison is the thief of joy, and, in order to finally come to that point of happiness with yourself, you have to stop comparing yourself to others, but that's what I'll say on that. So...
Yeah, exactly. I completely agree with that, and as I've already said what I had to say about that topic. Excuse me, sorry.
Alright, so
we're gonna move on now. And
we got the final song off The Life of Pablo.
Thank you for
that
listening.
I'm talking about. But yes, thank you all for listening. If this resonates with anyone,
I still want you guys, like I said last week, and like I said on my stories, if you know who I am, reach the fuck out to me if you feel upset or anything, you feel anything like that. I will never push you away, ever.
Same here. If any of y'all need help, don't be afraid. Don't be a stranger.
Exactly.
But the third song I have, this is a really relatable one. Real Friends. And especially talking about these topics.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like a lot of people in that position, they feel like, who's my actual friend and who just wants me to be their friend for their benefit, But so the song starts off with some light piano keys and a light drum rhythm, with Kanye reflecting on whether his so-called friends are really his friends, or are they in it for the money, the fame, the power that is attributed with being friends with Kanye. So there's some more religious lyrics in here. One I liked include, "Fuck the church up, I'm drinking at the communion, spilling free wine, and now my tux is ruined." I just thought that was kind of funny. Now Ty Dolla $ign, who has a very lovely voice, comes in with some verses coming in from the perspective of Kanye's so-called friends. And he talks about how he no longer has time, or how Kanye no longer has time for his friends. He's like, now that you're on this higher pedestal and now you're famous, you don't have time for us anymore. So after that, Kanye talks about how he realizes that he's become too busy with his own life, and he struggles with not remembering certain things about his friends, whether it be wedding days, birthdays, children's birthdays, dates that friends should know. And he mentions not to ask him to pay their bills because everyone has them except children. There's another lyric in there. He says, come talk to me, I want to be your friend. I'm not paying your bills though, that's your own responsibility. And then he talks about how money changes a person and that person's relationships with other people who feel like he needs them due to his success and wealth. Any argument the media will extend it is another lyric which talks about how the media always blows things out of proportion, which, you know, Kanye, just look at him, you know, he's got a new headline every other month basically.
Yeah, dude, fuck.
And this is followed by a personal confession from Kanye where he talked about a cousin stealing his laptop that maybe had some pornographic content with Kanye in there, some sex tapes or something. But Kanye ended up having to pay off the cousin for it, which is like, whoa, you know, because you never see this vulnerability out of Kanye, and then he comes out with something like that, and you're like, wait, what? Let me hear that again. And then the song ends with repeating lines of Kanye thinking he deserves all the backlash that these friends are giving him, and then it follows by Ty Dolla $ign talking about how these same friends are going to talk down to Kanye and throw dirt behind his back. So it's just it's like a really real situation, you know, and it's kind of like two sides to a story, you know.
I mean, yeah, I agree. I mean, like there are people in your life that you're like you will always question.
Yeah.
Like there's always going to be people in your life you're like, are they really truly like? Do they really truly give a fuck about me? And I felt that way about people in my life. This just seems like some people are opportunists and they see something in you that they think they can take from you.
Yeah.
Or try to bounce off of you in some way, you know, like, and especially for somebody who is successful and rich, imagine they see a complete, like, they're completely being an opportunist in that situation because they're like, okay, this person's famous and rich, let me become friends with this person because they'll help me get famous or they'll help me get rich, and it's like they'll use this person's publicity to make themselves popular,
yeah,
you know,
exactly.
And like, why it's just like. They worked for it, you should too.
Yeah.
You know, it shouldn't be that easy for you. Like, I don't think it should be that easy for somebody. I think it's good because real friends will put you on and they will try to make you successful.
Yeah.
But I don't think you should use them because they're successful.
Right.
I think that's fucked up to be that way. And it's like, if like, let's say for whatever reason in the future I got rich, You'll realize who your real friends are if you get rich, because you'll see the ones that really are there for you for your money, and you'll see the ones that have been there for you since the jump, and since you were down bad all the way up till you were at this hierarchy that you're at now.
Yeah.
And I feel there are people I've had people in my life who I was at the bottom with, and now I'm where I'm at now, and they're still with me.
Yeah.
And thank you. I want to say thank you to those people who have been here with me since then. Since I was a broke ass. Me and my mom were a broke ass family. They didn't judge me for being broke. They didn't judge me for everything I wore. Like, they were my friend no matter what. And then now that I can actually afford things, and like, you know, I'm not rich or anything like that. Don't get me wrong. I have money because I work a full-time job. But they haven't switched up. They've been my friend no matter what. They see the things that I have and they don't care because they're not in it because like, oh, I have nice clothes and I'm trying to take my clothes from me or my shoes or anything like that, because they don't give a fuck about that stuff. They care about me as a person.
Right. Yeah.
So it's just, you really truly know who your real friends are when you're like, you realize who your friends are when you're at the top, like who the people who actually give a fuck about you. And I understand, and that's what I totally in that way resonate with Kanye, because I may not be famous and rich, but I feel like I'm at my highest peak with my happiness, and like just life in general, and my friends are still here. Yeah. And I know when I was saying back in with the whole mental health stuff, I said I didn't have friends, but that was before I moved to Minnesota. So I genuinely didn't have friends. I'm actually from California. Fun fact. I lived in California before I moved to Minnesota, and I had no friends in California. Well, no real friends, I should say. I had a friend that I hung out with, but he was just some neighbor kid. Yeah. I mean, he was a good kid, and don't get me wrong, if he ever sees this, I don't want to act like I didn't appreciate him being the only person that ever hung out with me, but emotionally and anything like that, it's like I was alone. Emotionally, I was alone as fuck. But my mom did everything she could to support us as a family. I know it's kind of off topic from friends, but even your parents can be your friends, you know? Like, my mom doesn't fucking, obviously my mom's not going to change up on me. She's my mom. She loves me, and she always has. And once I told her all that stuff about like how she broke down in tears because she never knew, because she was always gone. But that being said, just kind of you really truly will realize who your real friends are when you get to a point in your life. The people that stuck around from the bottom to the top. That's how you know they're your real friends.
Yeah, for sure. Do you want to transition into this, or do
Yep.
you want to talk about a positive, the 24K?
Oh yeah, we can talk about that.
Alright.
So I'm gonna talk about this really quick because we're gonna get into our most disappointing albums of 2020. But one thing I just kind of wanted to touch on because I'm really excited about it is 24K Golden's album El Dorado.